with all the talk about variable and fixed rates, one thing I wanted to highlight is the idea that, like, if you were doing a fixed rate, a 5-year fixed rate would be by far the weakest product. And what we're not seeing a lot of is that, we're big variable people. We believe the variable is the strongest product, but the majority of the time you're going to a bank, you're getting a 5-year fixed rate, and that's not necessarily even the best fixed term. So I want to highlight today the 10-year fixed rate. A 10-year fixed rate, exactly how it sounds, the rate is fixed for 10 years. Nothing changes for 10 years. About 10 years ago, we had as rates started to move down, we had rates being, enormously low at that time. I thought we put a ton of clients into 10-year fixed rates. And I admit it was not as positive as we would have hoped it would have been for that time period. In particular, rates kept going down, and what looked like a really attractive rate, which at that time got as low as 3.69, turned out to not be all that attractive when it comes to when it comes to mortgages and when it comes to rates. And so the vast majority of them, they didn't make the 10-year term. We paid them out early. So this is still a recommendation that we make that's not our strongest recommendation. Basically what I'm saying, though, if you were to consider a 5-year fixed rate, a 10-year fixed rate, I think would accomplish something better. And so right now, as we sit as the date of this video, we're looking at fixed rates being, in the mid 4s, 4 to 5%. And we're looking at 10-year fixed rates being about 4.8, 4.9%. So not a huge spread from a 5-year to a 10-year. And if you're worried about rising rates and the certainty of rate, there is not a big spread to go from 5 years to 10 years. And certainly that 10 years gives you a massive amount of security. Now, I do not think you're going to save the most money doing that. I do think that that could be I don't think you're going to save the most money doing that, but I do think that you're going to but I do think you're going to get more certainty than you are on a 5-year rate. Now, there's a few drawbacks in particular. A big reason why we don't recommend fixed rates is the penalty. Now, if you take a 5-year fixed rate penalty, which basically means, in a nutshell, a penalty is that I'm going to pay whatever interest the bank's not going to get by me paying it early. Now, if I magnify that by a 10-year term, I don't just have 3 years left, I have 8 or I have 7 years left. We're talking about some pretty major penalties, $45,000, $50,000. Now, the caveat of that is that there is a law called the Interest Rate Act. The Interest Rate Act means that after 5 years, that mortgage goes to 3 months interest. But there's no question, if you take, and knowing that 70% of people pay out their mortgages early, if you go into a 10-year, that 5 years until you hit the 5-year point, it's going to be expensive to get out of your mortgage. And so you really are taking that risk that you are committing to the long haul. Now, I would suggest that if you take a 10-year fixed rate, you would think really long and hard about the idea that if you needed to move house, that you would port the mortgage. And then the other piece of the puzzle is if you want extra equity out, I would think really long and hard that we do a second mortgage in that scenario. So anyway, a 10-year fixed rate is something to consider. If that is the certainty of payment is important to you. 10 years is a long time for certainty from that perspective. If you think, I think rates are going to keep going up. If you believe that, a 10-year fixed rate is definitely your best bet as far as that product. Now, if you want to take advantage of that, you want us to redo your mortgage at a 10-year fixed rate, please do reach out to us. We'd be happy to do that and go through some pros and cons. If you'd like to get more information, please do share this video with any friends or subscribe. We'd love to help them out if they'd like to look at a 10-year fixed option.